welcome back to my channel. It's me Kagam. Okay, you guys, today we are going to talk about, you know who, your girl Big C, because she is being dragged all around the world. Okay, remember the song with Diddy and Mace? Okay, been around the world with the David Bowie sample. That is the new theme song for these dragging stories, because you know I like to keep it international. We're in Milan today, we're in Sydney, Australia, okay, we're in Sloane Street, London in the UK. We're also going to go to New York. So yeah, here we go. Let's start off with the first story. So you know what time it is if you're not familiar with these videos. I find all of the reviews on Google Reviews for all of the boutiques. I react to them, we chat about it. So let's get started. The first review is from Sloane Street in London, in England, in the United Kingdom, and it goes as follows. Don't you effing, okay, don't you F word dare ever again to tell my daughter these are very expensive, my love. First of all, she's not your love, and second, she wears a vintage Dior head wrap which is worth 10 times your store. I don't know about that. First, she will stick to Dolce. We are from Sicily after all. Okay, but I would like to know, how do you assume that people don't have or don't have money? Can you explain this to me like I'm a 2-year-old? Okay, first of all, this person's angry. Totally understand being like upset, and I respect it. A few things. I think, like, first of all, I think that there's like a cultural misunderstanding in this review, because she puts the quote marks. I didn't put those, she put those there. These are very expensive, my love. Like in the UK, if you're from the UK, confirm what I'm saying right now, please. But in the UK, it's common like for people to say things, particularly London, and I think it's more of a London, Southeast England way of speaking, for people to be like, you're right, love. How you doing, love? You okay, love? Like the word love is used as like a term of endearment, even though we all know love, L-O-V-E, do you know what I mean? And I don't think that this particular, of course you're not there, so I want to take what she's saying at face value, but these are very expensive, my love. Yeah, the love part is not offensive. So when she's like, she's not your love, that's a cultural thing that maybe this person didn't understand. However, telling someone something is very expensive, even if it's a child, I think is bang out of order, because that child, okay, is probably in the boutique with their mom or their dad, you get me, and their mom and dad, they have cards to pay for things. So I think the essay is bang out of order for that. She's saying they'll stick to Dolce, they're from Sicily. Listen, let's talk about Dolce really quickly. Is Dolce cancelled or have we uncancelled them? I would like to know what's going on with Dolce. Tell me what you think in the comments, because you're not going to cancel me from this channel. I've worked too hard to get to this point. I'd love to know what we think about that. How do you assume that people have or don't have money? I literally said this so many times, and no one like supports me when I say this. I experienced this in Paris. The days when I look super casual, going into luxury stores, you get blanked. The days when I was like with the luxury shopping bags, if I'd been shopping somewhere else, I wasn't blanked. Like, they really do just judge you based on how you look. But when I go traveling next time, I'm going to make sure that, you know, I'm like, I have lots of looks prepared. I know you're like, it doesn't matter what you dress. No, it does. It really does. And I think we've seen it with that story. I'd love to know what you think about that one. Do you think that there were cultural misunderstandings? The next review is also from the Sloane Street boutique. This is quite long, so I'm just going to read a portion of it, and then I will summarize the rest because it's quite long. She says she's had a poor experience at the store. The bags. I requested a classic caviar, classic flap with a gold chain upon walking in. The essay asked if I had an account with them. Important. I said no. The disappointment in the essay's eyes was hard to miss. She said I had to be on a waiting list to obtain one. Sound familiar? Fair enough, I thought at first. I continued looking around the store. Then I saw, to my surprise, a Russian lady was looking at a black caviar small double flap with a gold chain, was intending to get it but didn't. I chatted with the lady for a bit, and she was looking for a lambskin with a silver chain, which they did not have, and asked me to put on the waiting list for it. I then asked for the caviar bag that she didn't want, but they said it was reserved. So she goes on to basically, you know, say that the other woman was allowed to buy the caviar bag, but she actually wanted the lambskin one, and then when she wanted to get it, they told her it was reserved and she couldn't get it, and she felt like that policy was discriminatory. Okay, then the next part of the story is her talking about the shoes. So she says, I bought a beautiful pair of ballet flats, but I was shocked by the way they were given to me. It was the last pair, but the price tag was left on the sole of one of the shoes, and the shoes were placed directly into the shoe bag. Maybe I was spoiled by Chanel in Paris, where every shoe is wrapped tightly in white paper, then placed in the shoe bag, and more white paper was placed on the shoe bags. These weren't cheap, £650. Well, that's cheap now. I mean, good luck finding shoes in Chanel for £650 in the UK, love. Okay, see what I did there? So I don't believe it would be unreasonable to expect the shoes to be wrapped and given to me nicely. Okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the first half of the story. So basically, she feels like a client was offered the chance to buy that bag and she wasn't, and that there's a waiting list that isn't real. That's not true. There really is a wait list in all of the standalone boutiques. The Sloane Street store, for those of you who are curious, is a standalone store. And if you have never been to London, Sloane Street is very, very upmarket. It's very upscale. It does have this kind of like, I mean, to me, I feel like, you know, as someone who went to school in the UK and I've been to Sloane Street many times, it definitely feels very posh, you know, and that's a feeling that I've always had of that particular shopping street. I feel like this is a classic case of them just judging her appearance. She said how there was a lady from another nationality who had an opportunity to touch the bag and she declined, and then when she followed up, she wasn't given a chance. I think they judged her based on how she looked, and I think, and I'm willing to say this now, that she didn't have an account. Remember how in the beginning she says she doesn't have an account with the boutique. It's possible that this other client had an account with the Sloane Street store and therefore was allowed to maybe consider purchasing the caviar bag. But her, like as a walk-in client, she didn't have an account. So maybe they felt like, okay, well, you don't have an account, so why should we bother, you know, with you, kind of thing. And then the thing with the shoes, yeah, I feel like the thing should be packaged beautifully as well. When I first read this review, I kind of felt like she was whinging and moaning a little bit, but now that I'm reading it again on camera, I can't really defend Chanel there. Okay, Chanel, bang out of order. Like, you know, they're the ones who messed up, okay, because they allowed her to see another client be offered that caviar bag, and she's like watching someone. That would really annoy me as well if I wanted that bag, and just because I don't have an account, they're not allowed to purchase it. So yeah, Chanel, you're wrong here. The client's right, Chanel's wrong. Okay, now let's go to Milan, Italy. So this is a review which is on the Milan Chanel Google review page, but it's translated, so I'm just going to read the translation. She says, I went to the store on Saturday to see the new bag collection. I asked for a pink one. The saleswoman, not at all kind, showed me one. The only one in the store which had a badly closed chain link. I'm guessing this part of the translation means like the chain itself of the bag. I pointed this out to him. I think they meant to say her, but again, the translation. I pointed this out to him and his, oh, maybe they meant salesman, so maybe it's a male essay anyway. I pointed this out to him and his annoyed response was, Madam, they're closed by hand, and then if something breaks, we're always here. A bag that costs more than 4,000 euros, not even at a hardware store are they so coarse and unprofessional. They're really opinionated and rude. Okay, so a few things here. Yeah, of course, the essay should not say, like, you know, their hand closed or whatever they're trying to say. I think that that's the translation thing right there. But to say, like, if something breaks, we're always here, that isn't cool. And that kind of furthers something I said on my Instagram stories like a few weeks ago. If you follow me on Instagram, you can go follow me, it's linked below. I was telling you guys how I believe that Big C is actually creating bags that are designed to break. I said how I felt like they're meant to be seen as toys, basically toys for very rich women. And I think if you kind of go into it with this idea, like you're spending really, really hard-earned money and you want it to be completely perfect from nook to cranny, like that isn't what Chanel, I think, is intending for these products. So the essay is wrong for the way he spoke to her, but I also feel like you pointing out a defect of a bag publicly in the Chanel boutique as a walk-in client, I think you're just kind of asking for the essay to just basically have no interest in helping you, basically, if that makes sense. Because I mean, if you think about it, like, why would they want to help someone who is like pointing out like a mistake in the bag, like inventory that they have? They can't control that. They don't control the inventory that they get. I do feel like that's quite, you know, you're trying to clap back at someone who didn't clap back at you, you know? So you're like, oh, this chain link is badly made. I think there are other ways of saying it. Like, oh, I'd like to purchase that bag. Do you have others? Do you have like another bag where the leather is brighter? That way you get another bag instead of kind of pointing out the issue about the chain and stuff. Because I feel like that is a good way for them, yeah, to be really, really, really like upset with you. The next one is also from although no, the next one isn't from there. This one is from, just double checking. This one is from the New York boutique on 57th Street in Manhattan. The review says, low inventory, they only reserve best-selling bags for VIP customers, so these bags don't even make it onto the shelves. I have been saying this, okay? When I mentioned if it was possible to order be listed for a bag, their reactions were as if I wanted to achieve world peace. That's a great line. So basically, they looked at you like you had a comb on your head. Okay, that's really funny. I mean, this is a sign of the times. I mean, this isn't anything new. It's not anything that we haven't discussed on this page. We've been talking about it for months and months and months. This is the road that Big C is going down. Big C is really, they're just not interested at all, and I mean, Big C they just don't care. I mean, what else is there to say? They don't care. They have no interest whatsoever in, like, I think in kind of furnishing like good customer service to people who they don't think are going to be like six-figure spenders. Even people spending $70,000 a year, $50,000 a year, excluding bags, I still feel like those people will be treated very well. Okay, the next review is also from the 57th Street store in Manhattan, New York, USA. I would give this place 0 stars if I could. I got the classic lambskin Chanel purse shipped to me from the boutique store as a surprise to give to my mum for Mother's Day. It came scratched. I tried to return the purse within 48 hours. The boutique and corporate office would not refund/exchange the product for a defective product that they gave me. I already shared my experience on a forum with over 7,000 physicians. I think she's a doctor. Chanel's Facebook and Instagram have already blocked most of my comments. I just wanted to forewarn other customers. Okay. This is really interesting because my reaction to this isn't what you think. I know you're going to be like, well, like, you know, she's the one who's right or wrong, whatever. I don't necessarily think she's wrong because I feel like she shouldn't get a defective, faulty item. But the key word here is key, lambskin. I live in Times and I have to use a personal shopper. I want to buy the Chanel 19 next. The Chanel 19 at the moment is only made in lambskin. I was even thinking about this lambskin issue when I was watching videos this week. I feel like with lambskin bags, having it shipped from the boutique and you're not there to make sure that you watch that bag and like enter the Chanel box, I feel like it's risky. I'm not saying it's her fault, but I'm just saying I can kind of see like where it happened. I bet, okay, I'm just saying to be on Chanel's side a little bit here. The bag, what if the bag was just basically brand new, pristine, and had like a scratch on it? Don't forget, lambskin scratches can be smoothed out and they can be buffed out. So I think you can polish them if you know what you're doing, and the scratch can come out. And even like dents, I've literally seen people on Instagram and YouTube like literally smooth out Chanel lambskin, and it's like as good as new. Should she have just smoothed it out? I mean, I feel like if I was buying my mum a gift, we don't know how scratched it was. So we don't know, because you know how people on Facebook, they're always like, guys, my bag is scratched and it's that big. There's like nothing there. There's nothing to see here, okay? We don't know. If it was massively scratched, then of course Big C should have refunded the money. But I think if it's a tiny little scratch, you could always buff it out, because lambskin is going to scratch. It is what it is. What do we think? Am I being too nice to Chanel? Let me know. Okay. Gosh, there's so many messy reviews today. I don't know why everyone's being messy today. This other one is extremely long, so I'm just going to paraphrase it. So basically, this client, she walks again into the 57th Street location in New York. She said the essay looked at her really nastily. You would have thought I asked this woman for her firstborn child. Yes, I'm loving these clapbacks. That's a good one. I like that. She was so nasty and looked at me with disgust, being really dismissive. This particular client was looking for a hat. She was told that the hat was at the 57th Street boutique. She was really like keen, you know, to get the hat and everything. And yeah, basically the essay was like really rude to her and basically mugged her off, to be honest, completely mugged her off and ignored her. And then then the client goes to deal with another essay, and then she walks over while she's speaking to the other essay and she says, go ahead and ask anyone else you want. She said she was made to feel really, really bad. I think she did actually purchase the hat, but she says here, the sad truth is I know I'm not welcome here, but I love this brand so much. I felt so much discomfort while shopping in store. And unfortunately, this particular style, I needed to go to this location. I couldn't wait the 24 to 72 hour turnaround for a call. She then says how she basically has to shop with her mother's essay now because she's had so many bad experiences in this boutique. This is like a true Chanel lover. This person really loves Chanel because at the top of her review, she said the review was only about this particular essay who she names. I'm not naming any essays in these because I don't think that's fair if the essay can't like defend themselves kind of thing. What do we think about that story? I feel like someone buying a hat, that's kind of unique and different. They're not just coming in to ask for a bag. Like, something I've noticed in a lot of these reviews is people constantly say, hey, can you check if the trendies there? We don't have any trendies in stock. Can you check it in the system? We don't have any in stock. That drives me completely mad. That reminds me of whenever I go to restaurants and cafes in Dar, and I'm putting in an order and I'm telling the waitress or the waiter, I'm like, hey, can you write down my order? And they're like, no, I can remember all of it up here. You can't possibly know everything about all the inventory. Maybe the store manager would know exactly how many trendies and woks and Chanel 19s are there, but I don't believe someone can remember everything. And many people have complained that when you go to Chanel and you ask them, like, do you have this in stock? They will literally be like, no, without even checking. They'll be like, no, even at a huge boutique. And to my knowledge, that 57th Street boutique is very, very big. Why wouldn't you just double check? You know, to be fair, like other boutiques do check. Louis Vuitton definitely check. They don't just tell you no. If you say, hello, I'd like to buy this shirt, they won't say no without checking the system. That is something that in a lot of these Chanel reviews, people do constantly talk about that. Okay, now let's talk about the Chanel boutique in Sydney, Australia. I think there are 2 locations, right, in Sydney? I think this is one of them. I'm going to try and remember which one it is and I'll put it up on the screen. Personally, I had a terrible experience at this store with a distasteful sales associate she names him, I'm not going to say his name. I've been acquainted with 2 essays who are pleasant, but I'm always dealing with more rude essays than respectable ones. But really, this guy takes the cake. You would think that someone who treats customers that way would either hate their job or think that they're too good for customers simply because they work for Chanel. Long story short, I inquired about purchasing a Chanel Classic Flap Small. The essay said, quote, the wait list is very long and they're reserved for our VIPs and you're not one of them. Ouch. No hello, thank you, see you again. Verbal exchanges that day from his end. Ironically, Chanel's flagship in Sydney gave me a text the following weekday to inform me that they had one small classic available and reserve it for me that morning. As a non-VIP member, I guess you just need to find a non-obnoxious, non-ignorant person to do business with. I won't go to this Chanel store altogether. I think this is another Chanel location, not the flagship in Sydney. Okay, let's be clear. The way she was spoken to is bang out of order. That is bang out of order. You can't tell someone like, they're reserved for one of our VIPs and you're not one of them. Bang out of order. The essay was wrong for that. But again, this review kind of proves what I have been telling you guys, and I've been saying this for ages, that Big C are doing this thing where the classics are reserved for VIPs and they're biggest spenders, and then if a VIP cancels on an order, they put the people who are waiting next. I've been saying this for ages as well. This whole thing of walking in and purchasing, those days are gone. And yeah, those days are over. Basically walking in and buying like a caviar black classic without stress. I just don't see, I don't see how those days are happening anymore. I would love to know what you think about that story, because I think the essay is bang out of order. The final story is also from Sydney, Australia. The person says, this is the worst customer service. I walked in to check a particular bag I'd been eyeing. Note that this wasn't a busy day, yet all the sales reps who weren't busy with a customer didn't even acknowledge me. So I walked a bit, and then when I saw what I was looking for, I went straight towards it. As I was about to touch the bag, a man working there held my hand and said I shouldn't be touching the bag and not to go near it in a rude and snobby way. I'll never buy a bag from this shop ever. People who work there should practice proper customer service to all potential customers. Because they feel superior that they work for Chanel is beyond me and a joke. Okay, so I feel like in this example, okay, I feel like the security guard overstepped by touching her hand. I don't think that's necessary. I'd be really offended if someone I didn't know, particularly for me because I'm from a very conservative culture, a man I don't know, okay, and if I'm there with Edwin and a man I don't know grabs my arm or my hand, I would be really offended by that, to be honest. So when I read this story, I was like, whoa, that is a little bit too much. And they're doing a bit too much there. But we have talked about people being yelled at Big C boutiques before for like going into the boutique and touching things without asking. Now, riddle me this. Why do we see so many Chanel shopping vlogs from YouTubers and vloggers and they're touching everything? I'm not talking about like people who have like essays. I feel like that's a little bit different because a lot of YouTubers and vloggers do have like essays and they're big spenders in their boutiques, so they're allowed to touch things. But you do see that there are some channels that I watch from time to time. I think we all know who they are, where the people like they do a lot of Chanel like shopping vlogs, but they're not necessarily like shopping at those boutiques at all. They just try things on, but they don't buy anything. How come they're allowed to touch things and they don't get yelled at? So I'd love to know what you think about that. I don't agree with the like yelling, like, well, not that they yell, but the security guard like, touch. She said touched her hand, whatever, or her arm, and told her not to, not to touch the bag. The Parisian stores are like known for don't touch, the things. Like if you want to touch something, you go to an essay, like you're not supposed to touch things. Like you will get checked in the Paris boutiques, and it seems that now that is a kind of worldwide thing, because in a lot of these reviews, I think particularly if you're unknown to the boutique, please don't be like, well, my essay lets me touch anything. That doesn't count because you have an essay. We're talking about people who are walking into the store, maybe as tourists and maybe as walk-ins, and they're just being treated like whatever. So what do you think about all of these stories? The Been Around the World series of Big C. I decided to dedicate it to Chanel today, but Louis Vuitton have been misbehaving, okay? Hermes have been misbehaving. Hermes is really like misbehaving big time. So what do you think about all of that? I would love to know what you think. I think generally speaking, today's stories are a bit of a mixed bag. On some sides, I'm like supportive of the boutique, and then on other sides, I kind of have to defend the client, because I do think that there are some essays who are just really rude and for no reason whatsoever, and you're happy and you're smiling and the essay is looking at you literally like they have seen a ghost. Like they are just like they're completely zoned out and they have no interest to speak to you. But there are other entitled clients. There were some other reviews I didn't add where people were saying, I walked in and no one said hello to me, I pay your paycheck. I don't know if people know this, but a lot of luxury retail essays have money and a lot of them earn like 6 figures a year. I don't know why people think just because someone works for like Louis Vuitton or someone works for Big C or Big H that you're paying their paycheck or whatever. I really don't like that way of thinking, and you guys, how I feel about that. So I didn't want to add those stories in today's like dragging session. So I'd love to know what you think of all of the stories from Sydney, Australia, Milan, Italy, London in the UK, and the New York situation. What are the shenanigans going on in New York? Like they really got that client. That client was so upset that if you've seen the review on the Google review page for that boutique, like she was like, this review is just about this essay. It's like not about the boutique. Like that's how much she loves Big C, because she knows she's putting her government name, and everyone is writing with their government names on this, okay, because it's connected to your Gmail account, okay. So I'm just kind of like, I like that she was making it clear that she was only talking about one essay. So I'd love to know what you think about all of those stories. Who's right, who's wrong. I also wanted to kind of talk to you guys about a trend I've noticed, and a new reason why I think Chanel is increasing prices. So over the past few weeks, I've been noticing this trend. I noticed this with 22C. Whenever I'm like just trolling through Facebook groups, seeing what's popping for Chanel, and I also noticed this with 22P. So this is definitely a pattern. When the collection launches, I noticed this with 22C. People get really, really excited about the launch, and they start, of course, buying accessories, buying bags. Some people are buying ready to wear. And then they, particularly with the bags and the accessories, they will buy them like the week of the release. They'll go into Facebook groups and then they'll say, you know, I just got this I just got this mini with the top handle, I just got this classic. The bag is beautiful. It doesn't have a scratch, a nudge, it doesn't have a fingerprint on it, okay? And then they'll be like, oh, you know, I just don't know if I should keep it. But the bag has been unboxed, the bag has been touched, the bag has been opened. We're not talking about a bag that's new with the hardware on it and everything like that. We're talking about a bag that has been opened, touched, and everything. And then they're like, should I like keep or return it? I don't know if I like this color. I don't know if I like lambskin. I don't know if I like this. I don't know if I like that. I totally understand that when you're in the store uses lighting, they use like really yummy scents to make you feel really excited about making a purchase. And then once that sugar rush goes down at home and the bag is kind of in your crib, you're like, ooh, maybe I don't know about that. But a lot of people are doing this with Chanel launches. So I noticed that with 22C with the cruise collection. Okay, and then I noticed that this time around now with 22P. So then they'll go there and they'll be like, should I keep it or should I not keep it? And then people are like, you know, you should return it or sell it to me or whatever. I realized something. The people who buy the new releases, if you're one of these people, don't be offended. This is just a business theory that I have. It's not a personal attack on anyone who does this. I'm not annoyed or anything. It's just a theory about the price increase. Because so many people do this, like they buy the hot pieces the week they come out, they get buyer's remorse, they're unsure about them, they go on social media to say, should I return this? And people then say, you know, it's thousands of dollars, it should be completely perfect, and yeah, you should go return it. These are people who are like luxury thrill seekers. Okay, so they're seeking that thrill of buying that new hot piece, but they don't actually want to keep it. They don't actually want to make it work in their wardrobe. I have seen, you know, everyone talks about Chanel's quality, Big C's issues with quality and all of this. You know, I've told you I want to buy Chanel 19. I've heard different things about the 19. I've heard that there's some batches of lambskin that are amazing, there are others that aren't. But no one really talks about the people who are thrill seeking and purchasing as a thrill. We're not talking about collectors. A collector is different because a collector won't even come onto the page to say, should I keep this or not? They're gonna buy the bag, they're gonna put it away. Chanel has her own beef with collectors now, honey, okay? But that's a different thing. We've discussed that already. We know that they want lifestyle clients, so we've put that to bed. The issue I want to put to bed today are thrill seekers. People who buy for that sugar rush of getting that new Chanel seasonal piece or that new Chanel unicorn, and then immediately when they get home, they start regretting it. They start thinking, I should, you know, return this item because that sugar rush has gone down. And then they go onto groups and say, guys, I think I see a tiny scratch. You know, I literally saw this, okay, in a Chanel group, literally with a 22P bag. Literally, there was nothing on this bag. I'm not going to say which bag it was, okay, but it literally had nothing on it. And the person was like, guys, I can see a crease. There was nothing. People were commenting like, just return the bag if you can't keep the bag anymore. If you need the money, like return it. Like don't make something appear that's not there. I do think that Big C knows this, and I think that they have their data points about serial returners, people who are thrill seeking, people who love that sugar rush of getting those hot pieces and then return them for whatever reason, whether it's a quality issue, whether you change your mind, or whether you just, you know, maybe something came up. Emergencies happen, that's real life, things happen. You might need to, you know, cash in the money and you go return the bag. I think Big C has realized that they have a lot of these people. Definitely compared to Big H, I would say Louis Vuitton and Big C have this problem with people who serial return, absolutely. And then I think that also impacts people's, like, the way people enjoy Chanel products, because so many products that get returned and then they have to be filtered through to other clients. And who knows if a boutique receives a return, if it's been unboxed for YouTube and it has fingerprints all over it, do they sell it to a new client? They probably have to, because they have to sell the stock that they have. I think that Big C has decided that they're done with thrill seekers. I call them thrill seekers. There's nothing wrong with it if that's the thing that you do. Like, you like to buy those new seasonal hot pieces, but then you regret it and then you want to return it. But I think you need to understand that. I think the sort of glory days of buying those all those hot new pieces but not keeping them are pretty much done at this brand, because a lot of the things I've been reading at the moment are like Chanel is making it difficult for people who are like that. And then I think once they realize that you are someone who constantly returns, you're going to start finding it's hard for you to start scoring those like really coveted hot items and stuff. Like, I don't feel like a serial returner is going to have the chance to, you know, score the 22S heart bag. You know, I personally don't see a serial returner being given that, to be honest with you. Or, you know, even though I personally, to my personal taste, the 22 is not to my personal taste, but I'm pretty sure the black one is going to do well. Like, I'm pretty sure if you're someone who's constantly returning things, like, you are not going to be that person. There was one listing in particular that I remember, and it was a mini with a top handle, and someone had purchased a 22p mini with the top handle in this one Facebook group, and they were, you know, like saying, like, should they return it because they didn't realize how delicate it was. And people were asking them, like, have you bought like lambskin bags before? Like, yeah, I bought lambskin bags. Well, how did you not know, you know, it was delicate? And people were just like, you know, you're just, you know, you've literally bought this bag, you've touched it, you've opened it, you've unboxed it, you literally touched it, you've tried it on, and then now, you know, you want to go and return it. My kind of view is that, like, I think if you do that, and I know some of you are going to be really annoyed at me, but I do think that if you're someone who's like a serial returner, like Big C knows what time it is, honey. Like, she knows and she's paying attention. I need to be very clear where I stand. I don't want anyone's returned item. And I especially don't want a returned item that someone has purchased, has unboxed for Instagram Reels, for IGTV, for YouTube, and then tried it on, you know, and, you know, put their fingerprints all over it and then returned it to boutique because they've changed their mind, because there is a crease, which they probably created by touching the bag so much. I would be really, really annoyed. I want something brand new, that's factory new, and that's kind of how I feel about it. I do think that Big C is pricing those people out as well. With these massive price increases, I think those people are going to be priced out. Not even just necessarily the seasonal pieces, because, you know, the classics, they come in really hot colors. There's a very hot purple that's coming for 22A for Métier d'Art, which is launching in June. That one is super hot. Lots of people are going crazy over that color. Again, if you're a serial returner, you're not going to get that color. Like, it's not going to happen, you know. And I do think that Big C are starting to factor in the people who do serial returns. And just to be clear, a serial return is someone who's constantly returning things. You know, if you return 1 or 2 items, I feel like a year, I feel like that's okay. But I feel like if you're buying from the new collection often, and you're buying items from the new collection and they're constantly going back to the boutique, Chanel are definitely going to be thinking about pricing you out. And I hope no one's offended by that. I hope you're not offended or angry at me, but that's what I think Chanel is doing. I think that they have access to that data. And it's just a trend I've noticed since 22C, particularly in Facebook groups and Instagram, like people complaining, but constantly buying and then trying to find reasons to, like, return the item, right? I will never forget that listing when I was literally looking for this crease. Like, I was like, where is it? Like, where is this crease? Because I don't see it, you know? So yeah, let me now give you some of my updates as well, just really quickly. So when it pertains to Chanel, the trendy is coming next month with 22S, because you know the trendy skip seasons. The Coco handle isn't coming this time around, because the Coco handle and the trendy don't ever share seasons. But I saw the colors for the trendy, but I don't know, like, by summertime, will the collection still be in stores? I think it will be, because Métier d'Art will be launching in mid-June. So hopefully when I go traveling in summer, I'll be able to see the trendy, but I feel comfortable ordering the Chanel 19. So that's the one I'm thinking about right now. I decided to kind of scrap the idea of the mini with the top handle, because I really didn't like some of those colorways. that I was seeing on Instagram. Some of them were gorgeous and then some of them were a mess, honey. Okay, so I was like, no thanks. And just before I go, I have to say, I was thinking the other day, like, if Big H and Big C were like safari animals in Tanzania, like what animals would they be? I feel like Chanel is on the offense. I feel like Chanel is like a female cheetah sitting in a tree. Fun fact, there are 1,000 cheetahs in Tanzania. They're all protected, by the way. And so they're all in like the national parks of Tanzania. And fun fact about Tanzanian cheetahs, Tanzanian female cheetahs are solitary. Once they give birth to cubs and everything, once they have reared their cubs and their cubs become like grown, they just like separate. And then they just live the rest of their life alone. I feel like Big C is like that. I feel like they're fighting the reseller battle in their own way, and they're adapting with each collection. They re-release the caramel colors. They're really being quite tight and they're really controlling the distribution of the Chanel 22S heart bag. They're approaching this with a lot of agility and a lot of precision. That reminds me of course, my favorite animal, the cheetah. I feel like Big H is like this kind of quiet lion, you know, like the quietest lion of the pride. So as you know, a group of lions are called a pride of lions. They're about, I think they're like just under 20,000 lions in Tanzania. Of course, all of them are protected and they're all in national parks as well. I feel like they are just like that quiet lion in the pride. They can strike, but they're quiet. You know, they're quiet right now because they're formulating something. I think Big C and Big H could learn from each other with the reseller thing, because I feel like Chanel are attacking it with a little bit more precision than Big H. I feel like Big H kind of doesn't really know what to do. So I just wanted to kind of leave you with that little metaphor. I really hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you like my videos. I hope you would consider subscribing to my channel, hitting notifications. Sometimes YouTube is sending notifications late. I would love it if you would hit the notification bell so you're always going to be notified when I'm uploading a new video. And yeah, go check out my blog, it's linked below if you want to read articles. I post lots of updates. I post references there, colors, prices in euros and dollars and pounds, and lots of worldwide currencies on there as well. And of course, go join me on my Facebook page. Just posted a bunch of stuff there about Moschino and Versace. And go join the Facebook group, it's linked below. And go find me on TikTok and Instagram. Getting quite active there. I feel like I have decided I'm going to make this year where I'm going to make my Instagram and TikTok work this year. I have to make it work. So please go join me on all of my respective socials, and of course go join the Facebook group. It is so much fun. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next week in my next video.